Hello everyone and happy December the 1st. Can you believe that we have just over 3 weeks for Christmas? I don't know how we got here. It's been so fast. This year has gone just like that. And here we are looking at the end of the year. So I thought that I would end this webinar series for Release, Re-Energize, Reset, this 90-day challenge by talking today about envisioning your future and goal setting. Now, of course, I'm Elizabeth Terry, and I am your NLP trainer and master coach. I'm also a consultant with the Entrepreneurs Institute, a flow consultant. And of course, I'm a trainer, and I just absolutely love helping people to fulfill their potential. And so I'm going to be talking today about how you can get goals. Now, the thing is that at the end of the year, we usually make what are known as resolutions. How many people here make resolutions? Yeah, we have all made resolutions. And I'm sure if I asked how many of you have actually kept those resolutions, that the number would be equally low. Yeah. We all have made resolutions, and somehow halfway through the year, or maybe even before, the resolution has gone out of the window. So I made a commitment to myself years ago that I wasn't going to make any more resolutions. So having learned about NLP, I decided that what I was going to do, instead of making resolutions, I am going to actually make goals. Now, NLP is known as the GPS for goal setting, and it is a wondrous methodology for helping you to really fine-tune what it is that you want, and not only to be able to write them down and be clear on the goal itself, but to get you into a space where you're actually going to be motivated to achieve them. So I know that this will really appeal to many, many people. So earlier in the webinar series, I did speak about things like getting rid of negative emotions. We did the 7-day mental detox. And I also spoke about, how your mind works, and your conscious and unconscious mind, and being able to fully utilize the power of both of those aspects of your mind. And so today it's sort of like a capstone. How do we put all of that together to get the results that we really, really want? And one of the ways that we can do that is through our goal setting. So I'm going to share with you today 7 steps, 7 tips that you can use to help you in achieving your goals for 2020. Now, the first question I want to ask you when you think about goals is, do you ask yourself, why do I want to achieve it? This is a very important question. And I suggest that you do that question 5 times. So why? Why do I want to achieve that? And so you get an answer. And then you ask yourself at least 4 more times, why? Now, the reason that we're doing this is to make sure that we drill down to the purpose behind the goal. We want to make sure that we know exactly why it is that we want this goal. There has to be a deeper why for you in the goal. Otherwise, you won't go ahead with it. You want to make sure in those questions that you also are doing the goal for yourself. It's not someone else's grand idea why you're actually doing this goal. So is it initiated by you? And that will come up out of this questioning as why? Why am I doing it? One of the other things that you really want to ensure is that you're fully motivated. Because if it's not tapping into your deeper passion and purpose, likely you won't actually achieve it. It'll just be one of those things that, you write down at the beginning of the year. Now, the next thing that in setting your goals that's important, you want to make sure that your goal is actually not only stated positively, but it is toward what you want. Many of us know exactly what we don't want. And it's important because this is how our mind works. Our unconscious mind does not process negatives directly, and we want to harness the full power of our unconscious mind to ensure that we get our goals. So the way to frame the goals is to ensure that we are framing that goal towards what it is that we want. Now, it could be said that when you talk about things like eliminating debt, that's a very popular one, or losing weight would be perhaps another, that this is something that is ultimately positive for you. But the actual wording of that goal is important. Language in NLP says we give meaning to everything through our language. So it's important that we actually frame the goal in a way that's really and truly positive and toward what we want. So if I were to say I want to lose weight, when I think of even the word losing, we tend to want to hold on to things, don't we? We don't want to lose things. So I suggest that when you're thinking about a health and fitness goal, that instead of framing that goal in losing weight, which may in fact be a milestone that you will check on as you progress through the achievement of your goal, that you frame that goal more in line with the positive outcome that you want, which might be a health goal. It might be something to do with how you want to look and feel, or I'm already a size 6 or a size 10 or whatever it is that you want as your goal. So frame it toward what you want, not away from the thing that you don't like, the debt, for example. So to use that as goal and reframe that goal in terms of debt, you'll be looking more towards the kind of income flows that you want, which will not only help you to eliminate the debt, of course, but it will also give you other things as well. So that's the second one. The third one is to ensure that the goal is in alignment with your values. Now, we talked a bit about values in one of the earlier webinars because those are our unconscious drivers. So we're not even aware that our values actually are what drive us towards doing certain things. So we do an exercise in NLP which helps us to identify what those unconscious values are. So become aware of them. And that way we will know better how to frame our goals. So for an example, suppose you had a goal that had in it for life and living. Let's say you had a goal that a top priority, which was around spending quality time with your family. And you set a goal for your career or business that would ensure that you are spending at least 60% of your time at the office and slugging away at this goal. You might have difficulty in achieving it because your values are going to be in conflict. One part of you is going to want to go home and be with your family, and the other part is going to want to drive you towards achieving your goals. Now, it isn't to say that at certain points of our life or because of certain circumstances that we may not have to make certain choices, but we just want to be aware of what those are. And if there are deeply held values that are going to be in conflict, we need to find a way to work around those so that we can actually achieve some level of harmonization, of integration of those values so that we don't feel pulled apart when we are going towards our goals. One of the other things, this will be number 4, that I suggest that you keep in mind when you are looking at your goals, is to ensure that you ask yourself the question, what will the achieving or the achievement of this goal, how will it impact other aspects of my life? So we call this in NLP, is the goal ecological? And so it's a question that we need to ask because, of course, when we determine our wheel of life, there are many different aspects to us. And it's not just business, or it's not just family, or it's not just finances or health and fitness. We actually are whole people with different aspects of our life, and we need to ensure that there's a certain level of balance. So the ecology question is around how will this impact other aspects of my life, rather like what happens with possible values conflicts. So if you have a values conflict, it is closely aligned to the question of how will it impact other aspects of my life. Because of course, if certain things are going to be negatively impacted, we need to know upfront, and we need to find a way to somehow ensure that we can resolve that conflict before it starts to happen. The next question that you need to ask yourself, and of course, those of us who are in organization or have been in organizational life will know this acronym, and it's called SMART. So SMART stands for being specific, first of all. So your goal needs to be very specific, like what exactly is it that you want to achieve. So if I said I want to be by so-and-so to date, I will have achieved a certain level of health and fitness, then I need to be specific about what that is. What does that look like in terms of size, perhaps, or weight? I weigh this amount of weight, or perhaps I look a certain way, I have certain blood pressure, and that kind of thing. So we want to be really specific. The same way, of course, in terms of creating wealth. So we want to know exactly what those income flows are and how much do we want to have per month or per year. So we want to get down into specifics. The next thing is that they need to be measurable. So the M stands for measurable. So at the end of the day, we need to be able to measure. So if they're specific, we can also measure them. A stands for achievable. So we want to set a goal that we can realistically achieve within the time frame that we have set it for. So if we want to, be a concert pianist and we've never played the piano before in our lives, then we're going to have to take a long time to get there, right? So we need to be mindful of what we actually can achieve within the certain time frame, because if that goal is too big, then it means that we'll likely get frustrated and we'll say, oh, to heck with it, and we'll just stop right there. So we need to have a certain level of achievement. At the same time, we want to challenge ourselves enough. So it's a balance. So achievable, but maybe with a bit of a stretch so that we feel motivated and challenged to do that. The R is similar. It stands for realistic. And I should have said that in the A also stands as if now. So when we write the goals, which is something I'll mention in the next step, when we write those goals, we have to say it in a way that it's already happened. So it's as if now, so that we can actually viscerally feel that we have the goal already. And I'll speak a bit more about that. The next thing, of course, is time-based. So we need to put some kind of timeline on it and make sure that we know that it's 6 months or it's 1 month or maybe 1 week, just depends on what the goal is, or perhaps as much as a year. So we need to have some kind of time frame on it. So SMART really is in that acronym, that's what it stands for. And in doing the goal as if, I suggest that you frame it in this way and write it down. That's another thing. Make sure that you write down your goals. So it is, let's say that you had a goal that was to be achieved by the end of June. So it's a 6-month goal from January the 1st. So you would say something to the effect of, it is June the 30th, 2020, and I am sitting in my own office of my newly opened company, my newly opened coaching business. So that would be stated in a way that is saying it has already happened. So it is with the date, and then you can insert I am, I do, or I have. And you can decide what your verbs are internally in accordance with what it is that you want to achieve. Now, another thing that I would say is really, really important is make sure that you describe your goal, even outside of that one statement that you will make that encapsulates what your goal actually is. Make sure that you give life to the goal. It's really important that you describe your goal in a way that is sensory based, meaning that you use all of your senses. That's your sight, your hearing, your sense of smell, your touch, and your feeling. Most importantly, give it emotion so that you really feel compelled to go after it. And this is why, just going back to how I started, that you have to have the why. And when you have the why, then you can really connect with the goal. Now, there's a lot has been said about the whole business of the law of attraction. And so we have a vibrational signature, and whatever it is that we are vibrating, we tend to pull that towards us. So the idea behind making this sensory based is twofold. One, when we feel it viscerally within us, then we begin to act as if it has already happened. And that sets up a chain reaction, because when we feel that this goal is already achieved, then we tend to feel differently. We are not in a state of lack or want or frustration for not, having what it is that we are after. We actually feel that we have it already. And so we act differently, we think differently, we feel differently, our behavior with others changes. And that is really important for us to keep the motivation going, to change our mindset, and also working with the law of attraction to ensure that we are pulling towards us that which we honestly want and sincerely and deeply want. So making that goal really compelling is absolutely critical. And in that vein, one of the things that I suggest that you do to keep your energy really at the level that you want it to be is to keep a gratitude journal. So giving thanks and keeping in the vibration of gratitude is really helpful. And there are many different techniques for doing this. And I'm sure outside of this you have heard about the importance of gratitude. So I'm not going to belabor the point. But as something that you can do for yourself in the new year or even before, buy yourself a gratitude journal. And every evening before you go to sleep, just write down, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you are really grateful for. Maybe reflecting on the day, because we tend to give more precedence to the things that are negative. That's kind of how we are wired with our reptilian brain. We tend to be always on the alert for the things that are red flags in our lives. So we need to retrain our minds to look for the positive aspects, and having this sense of appreciation and gratefulness for even the little things in life that we have experienced. The beauty of the morning, the cool Christmas air. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm really appreciating the coolness of the evenings after that really, really, really hot summer that we had. So things like that, getting us into a space of gratitude are important, not only for our goals, but just generally for our good mental health. The last point that I'm going to raise is the matter of focus, keeping your focus. In NLP, we say that anxiety is a warning from the unconscious mind to focus on what you want. So I'll say that again. Anxiety is a warning from the unconscious mind to focus on what you want. Because when you think about it, the only real way that you can be anxious is because you're focusing on what you don't want, that negative possibility, and keeping focused on your goal, where you're going, and understanding, yes, there may be some obstacles because we have to be flexible. Things are going to crop up along the way. It's not necessarily a straight direct path to where we want to go, and developing the resilience and the flexibility, as we say, to bob and weave and to wheel and come again, but to keep your eye on the prize, to keep your focus on where it is that you want to go. So that's it, folks. That's my 7 steps and tips for setting your goals for the new year. And we are almost there. We are 30 days away. December has 31 days, so we are 30 days away from the end of 2019. And I'd like to ask you, are you prepared for the new decade? The new decade is upon us. Not only a new year, and ladies, next year is a leap year. So there are a lot of different things that you can initiate in this coming 2020. So are you ready for it? And how prepared are you to make those changes that are required to, lift your consciousness, lift your results, improve your well-being, and really get you beyond the plateau that perhaps you have been on for the last year or perhaps the last decade even? How are you going to quantum leap into the next year? Many people want to make a bigger difference, not only in their lives, in the lives of their family, but they have a big vision for how they can impact the world. Perhaps you are an entrepreneur and you're thinking, wow, I want to help with the well-being of people. There are a lot of persons now who are interested in health in various aspects, whether that's physical health or mental health or emotional health. Or perhaps you have another kind of passion to do with technology, and how can technology help achieve a bigger difference, whether on the local scene or regionally. And of course with technology it's global. So we put together a retreat in January 24th to 26th for women leaders, and this is particularly for women in charge of their own businesses, women who are in organizations in positions of leadership at any level. Once you have a team that you are working with, then this is a program for you. We are looking for only 20 ladies. So 20 ladies who want to make a big difference in their own lives and in the lives of others, who are ready to go to take on the new decade with vim, vigor, and vitality, who want to release, re-energize, and reset for 2020 and beyond. Now, the retreat is coming up, and it's already December the 1st. So if you have not yet enrolled, then you need to contact me right away at nlptrainingjamaica@gmail.com or on my WhatsApp, which is 876-556-5177, or you can go to my website, which is www.limitlesstransformationja.com, and under training events you will see information in regard to the retreat. So just contact me, make your reservation now, book your spot, and we start with the online component as soon as you have enrolled, because the retreat is actually in 2 parts. You do an online component first to prepare you, and then we go into the full experience of the Mind, Body, Soul retreat, which will entail Qigong, meditation, and NLP, timeline therapy, getting you prepared mentally, emotionally, and physically for the new decade ahead of us. So it's wonderful being here and sharing some time with you. Thank you for listening in. And if you have any comments, make sure that you send them on to me. And just have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Enjoy and just, get exponentially full of the Christmas spirit, the Christ spirit. So take good care, everyone, and see you again in the new year.